Have you noticed something interesting about truly wealthy retirees? Many of them don't look rich at all. They drive used cars, wear comfortable, non flashy clothes, and live in modest homes. Meanwhile, some of the people who look the wealthiest are actually drowning in debt and stress. I was reminded of this recently when meeting with a couple who came to me with help, looking for help for their finances. They pulled up in a Mercedes SUV, dressed in nice clothes, smiling. They looked super happy. But once we got into a deeper conversation and I reviewed their numbers, beyond this illusion of wealth and happiness, they were actually financially trapped and deeply unhappy. That experience has stuck with me ever since. Now, on the flip side, I've met with people who look like they just came off the farm after working 12 hours, yet they have complete financial freedom. They're happy doing whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. So, today I want to share why looking poor might be the most powerful strategy for living a truly rich life in retirement. I'll walk you through four powerful benefits of adopting this mindset. You'll learn how looking poor can give you more freedom, less stress, more happiness, and greater control over your retirement. Let's start with the most powerful benefit, breaking free from the consumption treadmill that traps so many retirees. Here's something fascinating about human psychology. When you make a purchase, your brain releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that creates feelings of pleasure and reward. And what's interesting is this release happens during the anticipation and the act of purchasing, often more than when using the actual item itself. And this explains why some people have closets full of clothes with tags still attached to them because they get the dopamine hit and the thrill when they buy, not by actually owning and using the item that they just bought. After that initial excitement fades, the happiness that that item brought begins to wear off. Whether it's a golf club, a luxury car, or designer clothes. No matter how fast you run or how much you acquire over time, you eventually return to your baseline level of happiness. Once that high diminishes after buying something, feelings of discontentment slowly creep back in, and you begin looking for the next thing that brings happiness. And it's this vicious cycle we fall into, and some people never escape it. I've found that those who step off this consumption treadmill are consistently happier and wealthier. Now, from the outside, they might not look wealthy, right? They don't have the latest cars or designer clothes, but they've discovered a deeper satisfaction that isn't dependent on acquiring more stuff. The second benefit of looking poor is, in my opinion, the most important: financial freedom. When you resist the pressure to show off your wealth through buying more things, something remarkable happens. You actually start to build real wealth. The most financially secure people I've met aren't trying to keep up with the Joneses. They understand that true wealth whispers. It's not loud and it's not looking for attention. It's in the background, quietly growing unnoticed. Look at Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people alive. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know who he is. Despite having $147 billion, he still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 and drives a modest car. Think about that for a moment. So here's the reality: looking rich is expensive. The desire to impress others who probably don't even care leads to poor financial decisions again and again. I think a lot of this boils down to caring what people think about us, trying to mask our real financial situation with outward appearances. But maintaining this image constantly drains our resources through high car payments, expensive clothing, or luxury vacations we put on a credit card. None of these things build wealth. In fact, they actively prevent us from building wealth. But here's where it gets interesting: the less you spend on trying to appear wealthy, the more you can invest in actually becoming wealthy. And that wealth provides something infinitely more valuable than status. It gives you freedom. Genuine financial freedom means having the ability to walk away from situations that don't serve you. It means not feeling trapped in a job you hate because you need to maintain the payments on things that don't ultimately matter. It means having the options and the flexibility to do what you want when you want. So ask yourself, especially if retirement is on the horizon for you, or maybe you're already retired, would you rather look rich for a few years or be financially free for decades? The third benefit of embracing looking poor mindset is significantly reduced financial stress. Studies show that over 70% of Americans feel stressed about money. And yes, that includes people with high incomes. This stress follows many right into retirement, creating anxiety instead of allowing you to enjoy this time in your life that you've worked so hard to achieve. The secret that rarely gets discussed is knowing what your financial cushion is. This is the difference between what your necessary spending is and what you bring in. That delta, or another way, maybe that gap, is your financial breathing room. When the cushion shrinks, stress grows. And believe it or not, even those with large incomes can feel financially trapped if they're spending everything they make. Let me share a quick story. I remember a couple coming in to see me. They were making over $500,000 a year in household income who were constantly stressed about money. When I asked how this was even possible and we started digging in through their numbers, it all became crystal clear. To maintain their current lifestyle, they needed every dollar of that income. Unfortunately, they had created a beautiful cage for themselves, right? Meanwhile, I've met with others who have more modest incomes but feel financially free because they live below their means. They've created a healthy financial cushion that gives them breathing room and peace of mind. Here's what's critically important as you approach retirement: it becomes increasingly difficult to reduce your spending once you've established a certain standard of living. Our brains are wired to resist going backwards. If your family is used to a standard of living way up here, but in reality, you should be more down here, that transition can be extremely difficult because it doesn't just affect you, right? It affects your entire family. And for many people, this becomes an obstacle they never overcome. This is why setting a lifestyle below what you can afford before retirement is so powerful. It creates the discipline and habit of saving and investing, the difference, building both wealth and your financial cushion at the same time. So ask yourself, how much of a financial cushion do you have right now? Could you comfortably live on less if you needed to? Gaining clarity around these questions and building that flexibility now creates financial freedom later. The fourth benefit of looking poor is that it forces you to live intentionally. When you resist external pressure to show off your wealth, something powerful happens. You can direct your resources towards what truly matters to you. And this is where the magic happens, when your spending finally aligns with your deepest values rather than trying to keep up with the expectations of friends or society. And I've witnessed this transformation countless times with clients. One guy I worked with realized he was spending thousands of dollars a year maintaining a country club membership that he rarely even used anymore. But when he redirected that money towards his family and going on fun trips, his satisfaction went through the roof. The joy he found in those shared moments far outweighed any status the golf membership had given him, if anything. So, this is really about defining wealth on your terms. Living a rich life isn't measured by what you own, it's measured by your freedom, meaningful relationships, memorable experiences, and having purpose. I want you to ask yourself these questions. What would I do with my time if money weren't a concern? Which relationships would I invest more time in? And what activities do I enjoy so much that I lose track of time when doing them? Now, these are important because your answers will help you define what living rich actually means to you. Remember, this is about building a life you never want to retire from, where your days are filled with purpose and fun, regardless of what car you drive or how others see you. And here's what's fascinating: maintaining a modest outward appearance often enables a much richer inner life. It frees you from the constant social pressure to conform and allows you to design your life around what genuinely matters to you. So, what does all this mean for your retirement? Looking poor doesn't mean eating ramen every day and never enjoying yourself. It means understanding that your appearance and possessions aren't the most important things in life. It means prioritizing financial freedom, reducing stress, and maybe just getting more satisfaction and intentional living over impressing others. When I've witnessed clients adopt this mindset, something remarkable happens. Retirement becomes less about escaping work and more about embracing freedom. You're no longer building a life you need to retire from, but creating one you never want to leave. The wealthiest retirees I know aren't measured by their cars or their homes. They're measured by the freedom of their time and the flexibility they have in what they want to do. They have the freedom to spend their time how they choose with the people they love, their family, doing things that matter to them. They have a plan and a financial cushion that provides peace of mind and protects them from financial stress. And I know this is within your reach too. In fact, I'm sure most of you watching this have the saving thing under control. Maybe you actually need to spend more money, but then the next question becomes, what are you spending your money on? When your money and values are aligned, it pays dividends far more than you can ever imagine. Now, if you found this valuable, you're probably wondering about the next step, figuring out exactly how much you need for your specific retirement situation. In my next video, I'll walk you through 4 real world retirement case studies that show exactly what works and what doesn't based on your age, your savings, lifestyle goals, and your financial situation. So click the video right here to watch, and I'll see you over there.